A trip to Nottingham Forest now on BBC Two Wales in a bid to find the truth about the man in tights.
I'm guilty of loving the past. And like history, I'm doing time. I'm not going to appeal though, or do a dirty protest, because when it comes to being historical, I'm bang to rights. History's full of criminals. Dick Turpin, Billy the Kid, Jeffrey Archer, to name but a few. But the most famous criminal of all may never even have existed. The man on my register of historical offenders is known to the police as Robin Hood! We are history! I'm here in Nottingham to find out just who was the real Robin Hood. Could he have existed? And if he didn't, can I still justify making a programme about him? The answer to both questions is yes. To solve the mystery of Robin Hood's identity, I'm going to have to do some historical detective work. And just like a modern policeman, I may have to conceal evidence and stitch people up. If we're to really pin Robin down, we need to ignore the myths of Hollywood film and focus on the facts. So, what do we know? Well, we know that he wore green tights, and that he had a little moustache and beard, and that he spoke with an American accent. But most importantly of all, we know that he lived in Nottingham Forest with his merry men, probably next to that very playground. According to new evidence unearthed by local enthusiasts, this park could lie on the exact site where Robin Hood once swung from tree to tree. Could this bush be where Robin hid from the Sheriff of Nottingham? There's only one way to find out. To get closer to Robin, we're going to employ the science of forensic archaeology. I haven't had time to ask the City Council's permission, but I'm sure they won't mind. It's for the good of history. It's amazing. We've been here for, 2 hours, and already I'm quite bored. I mean, this is far too small. The ground's really hard. We have found these, though. If you look at that rock could well be from the medieval period, or from another period. And what about this? Now, I'm no historian, but to me, that's got to be a piece of Robin Hood's longbow. Either that or it's just a stick, but that's not nearly as interesting. Back at the history van, we've set up an incident room where my researcher Kieran is going to help me reconstruct the face of Robin Hood. So, Kieran, from this skull, you're going to be able to rebuild the real features of the real Robin Hood, so we can really see what he really would have looked like for real.
Well, hopefully, yes, yeah.
Excellent. What's the first step?
Well, I've entered the measurements from the skull into the computer here.
Fascinating. And what does that enable you to do?
To print it out. On a table like that.
You could have just written that down.
Yes, I could have done, yes.
Okay, so what's the second step?
I don't know. I might put some plasticine on it.
Okay, it's not too impressive so far, but we'll come back to Kieran later on when it will probably be better.
Where did you get the skull from, David?
Where did you get the skull from, David?
Can you stop repeating everything I say?
Can you stop repeating everything I say?
You're a real idiot, David.
You are, you mean?
You're being a bit immature, David.
I know you are, you said you are, but what am I? Wankers. Everything we're finding at the dig site is pointing to this being Robin Hood's HQ. Just have a look at this. In historical terms, I'm Robin's stalker, and I know we'll be together soon. So, why did Robin choose to live here in the trees? Was he a road protester? Was he perhaps an Ewok? No, he and his band of men were outlaws, criminals, renegades, the original boys in the hood.
David, I've been talking to the director and we really need to know where the skull came from. I mean, there's no paperwork, you obviously didn't find it here.
Why are you so uptight about this skull?
Well, perhaps if we knew where it came from.
What, do you think I, killed a hitchhiker and boiled his head?
Did you?
No. No. no, okay? Stealing from the rich to give to the poor was a pretty stressful occupation for Robin. He needed to find a way to relax. He needed a hobby. So he decided to take up archery. Oh, what are you doing? Using the fragment of stick I found earlier, I've been able to make up what Robin's bow would have looked like. Richard Rutherford Moore is an expert on medieval archery, and he's agreed to show me how to use it. So, Richard, this is what's known as a strong bow, yes?
A longbow, usually.
All right. And is that as powerful as a gun?
Let me show you.
Oh, hold on. Richard Rutherford Moore, you require 40. And 1! You've won yourself that holiday. Good shot. I'm going to reenact the famous moment when Robin Hood shot an apple off Prince John's head. My researcher Miles has agreed to help. Hold still, Miles. Oh, close. A couple of inches further up, you'd have got it. Oh, stop whining, Miles. It only clipped you. So now we know a bit about the man behind the hood. But what about the face in front of and inside the hood? So, Kieran, what on earth are we looking at here? I mean, it looks like some sort of blaxploitation version of Hellraiser.
Well, David, what I'm doing is building up the muscle layers and the deposits of subcutaneous fat, so we can start to get a picture of what Robin's face would have looked like.
That is so creepy. I mean, do you mean he wouldn't have had any skin?
No, I'm going to put the skin on next, I thought.
Can we speed this up? I mean, what about his eyes? What would they have looked like? Put his eyes on.
Right, well, I suppose they might have looked something like that.
Right.
Maybe a nose as well. He'd like there, and then possibly some ears by the side of his head, like that.
And that's the face of Robin Hood, is it?
To be honest, David, I don't really know what I'm doing.
Well, that's more than obvious, Kieran. Start again. I've been mapping the dig site, and I think I found something quite interesting. Take a look at this. This is a map of the park showing the area we've been digging. And this highlights all the archaeological finds relating to Robin that we've turned up so far. And if you combine that with our geophys survey, you can clearly see an interesting pattern begins to emerge. It's a dog. In 1215, Prince John, now king, signed the single most important document in British political history, the Magna Carta. Carta meaning quite literally charter, and Magna meaning Japanese animation. And is it too much to think that this is down to the actions of Robin Hood? I don't think it's too much. And I'll fight anyone who does. So, what have we learned? Well, nothing that we didn't know before. But if we take what we haven't learned and combine it with wild, spurious conjecture, a picture of Robin Hood begins to emerge. We know where he lived and how he fought, and now, finally, what his face looked like. I don't know much, but I know I love history, and that may be all I need to know. Ta-da.
My name is Robin Hood, and I live at Nottingham Forest.
David, I need a word.
All right, Miles, look, I'm sorry about your ear, okay?
No, it's not. He hates you.
Oh, no, I am. I'm really sorry about your...
No, he thinks you're a complete... Oh, David, you're the best historian in the world.
Oh, thanks very much.